Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Let's begin our session. So today we will be starting a new tool called GitHub. Okay, so far what we have seen is like we have understood the basic part of DevOps. We understood the introduction part of DevOps. After that, we have started with Linux commands, and then we have also seen how to what is the basic part of shell scripting, like what is the use of shell scripting, how actually the shell scripting can be written, and we have just understood the basic part of shell scripting. Suppose if we understood, right, the purpose of shell scripting. The purpose of shell scripting is like to automate the tasks. That's what we have understood from the previous sessions. Okay, so shell scripting is mainly for automating the tasks. The DevOps engineers or Linux administrators, if they want to perform automation, if they want to perform daily tasks, sorry, if they want to perform automation of tasks that they were doing every day, so they'll go for using shell scripting and all. So that's the reason why shell scripting is mandatory to learn. And keep on going, we will be looking after, keep on going, we will be understanding few more things on the shell scripting part also. So let's start a new tool. Let's begin with a new tool called GitHub. Okay. It is one of the tools that we will be discussing as part of DevOps. GitHub is a source code management tool. As we know that it is an SCM tool. SCM stands for what? Source code management. GitHub is a source code management tool. And there is another name for this GitHub. The other name for GitHub is version controlling system. Okay, we can maintain different versions of code. That's the reason why it is called as version controlling system. So let me explain what is the purpose of this GitHub and all. Anyhow, we have already seen the basic idea of GitHub. By the name itself, we can understand it is a source code management tool. You see here. So what we are doing, we are going to create, consider this is a GitHub. Okay, we will be creating a GitHub account. And inside that, we will be creating some organization. Okay. We'll be creating a GitHub account. Inside GitHub account, we'll be creating an organization. Inside the organization, we will be creating repositories. We can create any number of repositories based on our requirement. Once a repository is created, the source code will be pushed into the source code will be managed. Source code will be kept into the repositories. So usually developers, if some of the developers, consider in any project, if some 4 to 5 developers are working, let's take an example, okay? I'm just taking an example. If some 4 to 5 developers are working, what they will do, they'll write the code. They will write the code and they will push the code to the repositories. They will write the code and they will push the code to the repositories. So from this, what we can understand is repository is a place where we can store the source code at the organization level. Usually, source code is the precious asset, right? Very important asset for the project. Source code is the important asset for the project. Okay, so maybe developers write code in Java, C, C++, whatever it is. Okay, .NET, Python, whatever the programming language they use, whatever the technology they use. So we should need a source code management tool for the organization, so that all the developers can commit the code into the source code management tool called GitHub. So what are the different tools? So GitHub is not only the source code management tool available. GitHub is not only the source code management tool available. So like GitHub, we have many other source code management tools. We have Bitbucket. We have some tools like Bitbucket. There is a tool called Bitbucket. It is also a source code management tool. And we have also a tool called GitLab. GitLab is also a source code management tool, right? So like that, we have source code management tools available. Few organizations, they might use GitHub. Few organizations, they use Bitbucket. Few organizations, they might use GitLab as a source code management tool. That it is up to them, okay? But all these tools that we were discussing, you see here, GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, all these are the source code management tools only. They are mainly for managing the source code. They're mainly for storing or managing the source code. So how we can manage the source code and all, we will see now in the real time. Let me show you. First of all, let's see. We will start with how to create an account in the GitHub. So we don't know how to use this GitHub tool, right? Suppose if any beginners are there, if they don't know how to use this GitHub tool, so first we need to understand how to create an account, in GitHub. So once we create an account in the GitHub, then only we can create organization, then only we can create repositories like that. Okay. There is a flow actually. So let me show you. We need to go to a website called www.github.com. Okay. So we are just logging. We are just going to a website called github.com, www.github.com. So this is how the dashboard looks like. This is how the page opens. When you open www.github.com or otherwise github.com, this is how the page opens. So if we don't have any, if we have account, we'll go here. We'll click on sign in page. If you already have an account, we'll go there into the sign in. We'll click on sign in and we'll provide the username and password and we'll just click on sign in. Okay. If we don't have an account, we need to register first of all. We need to create an account. Just click on sign up. We need to click on sign up so that it will ask for the email ID. I'm just providing my email ID. So I'm just providing my mail ID here. It is asking to set up the password. Here itself, I'm trying to set up the password. I'm just trying to continue. Username it is asking, okay? The username, it is up to you. Like you can provide any username. This username will display on the at the profile, okay? That username will be okay. See here, it is asking for the username. I'm just providing the username as my name. Here I'm doing it again. I'm providing my mail ID. So you see here when I'm typing the username, it is clearly showing that username Vamsi70 is not available. I'm just providing the username, but here it is clearly showing that Vamsi70 is not at all available. We need to select something different. Okay. I'm just selecting like Vamsi7070. Let's see if it is available or not. It is also not available. I'm just searching with Vamsi only. So the username, this is available. Okay. Vamsi203 is available. I'm just going to take that username. So whatever the suggestions that it is showing, then I'm going to take from one of the suggestions. Okay. I don't want to get any updates or announcements. If we don't want to get any updates or announcement, no need to check this one. If we want, we can check this option. Okay. I'm just clicking on continue. That's it. So that your account will be verified. Okay. We will be getting some mail. We'll be getting some mail. You see here it is asking, the next step is like it is asking for verifying an account. So I'm just clicking on verifying. So here, I think we need to keep this the same direction here. We need to match this. We need to rotate the objects and we need to match this. Then I'm going to submit. Yes, it is verified. It is just checking whether we are humans or okay. That kind of thing, like it has sent some code. It has sent some code to the mail which we are using there. So we need to go to that particular mail and we need to see the code that is sent by the GitHub. So I'm just entering the code. I have received a mail and I'm just opening the code. I'm entering the code here. I'm just providing the code. That's it. So immediately it is showing, you see here, your account was created successfully. Yeah, it's very simple it is very simple. Like creating an account in the GitHub is very simple. We just provided the mail ID. We have set up the password and it is asking for small verification. That's it. Account will be created. And it is clearly showing a message like your account is created successfully. Please sign into the continue. So now we need to log in. We need to log in with our credentials. So this is the mail ID that I have used while creating my account. And I need to enter the password. So I'm just entering my mail ID and password. Sorry. Yes. I just entered my username and password. Again, it is asking, these are the few details that this is mainly for the survey purpose only. No need to worry about. How do you describe yourself? Student or teacher, you can select. If you are creating an account, you can select as student. Okay. If you see, you can select anything. This is just only for their survey purpose only. How many team members will be working with you? You can select like just me or 2 to 5, something like that. It is just me. Okay. I'm going to click on continue. That's it. Again, it is asking few things. It is showing few things. What specific features you are interested in using. So I just wanted to use few things like automation and CI/CD. Maybe we are not using automation and CI/CD in the GitHub. Okay, but I'm selecting automation and CI/CD and I'm just selecting this community something. Okay, few options I'm selecting. I'm just going ahead. And you see here, the next page will show like this. Whether you want to go with the free membership, whether you want to go with the free license or you want to go with the GitHub Pro. Can you see here? We'll get some additional benefits here. So if it is a free account, these are the things that you will get. If you are going to pay something, okay, if you are going to get this Pro account, you will be having these many advantages. Okay. So finally, we'll be going for this one, which is for free. Okay. Why? Because we just need this only for the practice purpose. Just go for the free account. Okay. I'm just going for the free account. Yes. Once I click on free, I just, okay, you see here, I just clicked on free so that I'm able to see the dashboard of my GitHub account. This is how my dashboard looks like. Okay, leave about the things which is displaying on the dashboard. No worries about the things that is displaying on the dashboard. You see here, I'm able to, these are the things that it is displaying on the left side. And if you go here, if you click on your profile, what is our username? If you remember, I have selected my username as Swamsy203. So when did I selected this username? While creating the account itself. While creating the account itself, I have selected this username. That's why it is displaying the username as Swamsy203. Fine, my account is created. My GitHub account is created. What we have done so far? Okay, we have just created our GitHub account. Now I would like to show you how to create an organization first. Okay. So before we create an organization, we need to understand what are the things that we are going to do here in the GitHub. Okay. So let me tell you in the GitHub what I'm doing. I have created an organization. After creating an organization, okay, what is the purpose of creating an organization? First, we need to understand what is the purpose of creating an organization. Suppose, as I told you, right? Consider there is an organization called ICICI Bank. Okay, they want. So for them, they asked us. They asked to create a net banking, right? So ICICI Bank, if you remember, I told one example. ICICI Bank approaches some IT company. So for the net banking application, so usually that IT company will collect all the requirements, all those things that we have already seen. Okay. Consider there is an application. Consider there is an organization which is approaching the IT company for a net banking application. Okay. ICICI Bank is there, and ICICI Bank is approaching the IT company for net banking application. If the ICICI Bank is approaching for the net banking application, usually the IT company will collect the requirements and it will proceed for the further stages. Okay. Next stages. So in the GitHub, what actually we will do is, if we want to maintain the code for ICICI Bank in a separate organization, what we will do is, first we need to create an organization. I want to maintain, okay? Or the IT company wants to maintain the code separately for them. Okay, all their repositories and all, they need to create separately for the ICICI Bank. That's the reason why we are going here. And here we are going for organizations. Can you see here when I'm clicking on the profile, I could able to see some list of options here. And within these options, I can able to see your organization option also. Okay, there is an option called your organizations, and just click on your organization. If I click on your organization, I can see like we can create a new organization. There is an option here for creating a new organization. So we don't have any organization so far. This is my profile actually. Under this GitHub account, we don't have any organization. We can create any number of organizations under one GitHub account. So we are going to create one organization for now, and we'll see how actually the things will go. I'm going to create an organization. Try to understand. I'm going to create a new organization. I would like to create a free one only for now. The name of the organization that I'm giving is ICICI. So ICICI is not, ICICI is already taken. That's the reason why let me change, it is already taken. ICICI Bank is already taken. ICICI Net Bank. I'm just creating an organization for the purpose like. So ICICI Net Banking. I'm just going to create an organization with this name, ICICI Net Banking. So contact mail is mandatory. You can provide the mail. So whatever the mail we had, we can provide that one. We are just creating an organization within the GitHub. Okay. This is the mail that I'm giving. And it is asking whether if see, we are creating an organization and this organization belongs to your personal. This belongs to your personal or business or institution. Okay. I'm just selecting business or institution. Usually we create organizations. Anyhow, now we are doing for the practice purpose, but usually the organizations will be created for business or institutional purpose, right? So what is the business? What is the name of the business organization? It is asking. So what I am giving here is the name of the organization is ICICI, something like that. Again, it is asking for verifying your account. So maybe this is the correct direction. I'm just submitting. I'm accepting the terms and conditions. I'm going for the next one. One second. Sorry. See here, I am going to create an organization called ICICI Net Banking. I'm going to complete the setup. That's it. Organization is created. Hope you understood now how we are creating an organization. We are going to the profile here. We have an option called your organization. Just click on your organizations. And here, if you want to create a new organization, just you can click on a new organization. For now, I'm creating a free organization here. Just click on free organization. So now you see here, I just wanted to create an organization called HDFC or LIC. Okay, we can also create an organization for LSC, right? LSC is already taken. So what I'm doing is like, I'm just giving the full name like Life Insurance Corporation, something like that. So if the name is already taken, we need to give some different name. So this is the name. This is the name for our organization. You see, when I'm giving this name, it is not showing that it is not available. And it is clearly showing that this will be the name for your account on the GitHub. Okay, contact email. I'm giving the same email ID. Actually, we need to provide, we can provide any email. See, since we are doing it for the practicing purpose, we are just providing some email ID. It is a mandatory field. Contact email is a mandatory field. That's why we are providing some email ID here. So again, I'm going for selecting whether it is a business or a institutional account. I'm selecting business account. I'm providing this, the name of this organization is LIC. Verifying your account. I'm submitting. So that another organization is also created. Another organization is also going to be created. You see here, another organization is also going to be created. Welcome to Life Insurance Corporation. One more organization is created. Complete setup. Yes. Okay. Now you see here, when I'm going to the profile, if I look at this organizations, how many organizations I have as of now? How many organizations I have created as of now? I have created
2 organizations.
Yes, I have created 2 organizations. So far, I have created 2 organizations. If you see here. So far, I created 2 organizations. So what is the purpose of organization? We will understand. Okay, we have created an organization. And within the organization, I'm just clicking on ICICI Net Banking. I'm opening this organization. I'm just clicking on ICICI Net Banking. I'm just opening this organization. And within the organization, we can create repositories. So this organization doesn't have any repositories. You see, this is the organization. And in this organization, we don't have any repositories. So why I created organization is I want to maintain the code, source code. I want to maintain all the repositories of ICICI Net Banking in a separate organization. That's the reason why I'm creating an organization. I'm going to create all the repositories here. So now let's see how to create repositories. So within the organization, we will be going to create a repository. Okay, how to create a repository? We'll just simply click on repositories. We have an option here to create a new repository. Just click on new repository. We need to provide the repository name. Do you know how the repository name will be now? What is the repository name that we can provide? Usually, if I go to the ICICI Net Banking, and today, what is the today approach that we are following is we are following Agile model with DevOps tools implementation. Agile model, we are using Agile model with DevOps tools. So all the requirements, they are not going to start with all the requirements. They'll start with whatever the requirements they had. First, they will start with one module. Consider, you see here, if this is the net banking application, there are many modules here, right? Consider they are going to start with ICICI savings account module. Okay, consider they are going to start with ICICI savings account. So all the source code, I'm just going to create one repository with a name called ICICI savings account. And usually we need to provide some description. It is an optional thing. Okay. So what happens, how we will write the description? This repo contains source code related to ICICI savings account. Or otherwise, we can simply mention. We don't need to mention every time this ICICI and all. Why? Because we are inside the organization of ICICI. We can understand easily that we are creating repositories for ICICI. Okay. Yes. This repo contains the source code related to the savings account. And we are going to create an organization we can create a repository. We can make the repository as public or we can make the repository as private. There are 2 things. While creating the repository, we can make the repository as public or we can make the repository as private. Always, we will create repositories within the organization and we will make the repository as private only. Why? Because if I made the repository as public, anyone on the internet can see this repository. I don't want my source code to be visible to all the others, right? As I told you, source code is the main asset. Source code is the precious asset for the project. It is our responsibility to protect the source code. It is our responsibility to protect the source code. That's the reason why whenever you are creating the repositories, we should not select, we will not use this public option. If I use this public option, anyone on the internet can see this repository. If you want to, suppose sometimes actually, we intentionally wanted to make the repository as public. Yeah, that time you can keep. But usually source code cannot be shown. We will not provide access to the others to see the source code except for the people who are working in our organization. That too, people who are working on your particular project. They only must have access. Okay, that's the reason why whenever you create a repository, we need to keep the repository as private. That's it. We'll keep the repository as private. Okay, and then if you want to add this README file, if you want to add README file to this repository, yes, you can select this one. What is the use of this README? You can add a long description for your repository. You can add a long description for your project. Okay, for what is the purpose of creating this repository? You can add a long description here in the README file. So this is like after creating the repository, one file will be added with a name called README file. So you can open that README file and you can add your description over there. So this is mainly for understanding purpose. Okay, if some new people comes into your project and by looking at the repository, they won't understand, right? What is the purpose of this repository and all? So by looking at the description, they will understand something. What is the purpose of this repository and all? That's why we will add the README file for this. Okay. That's it. I'm going to create. I'm just selecting these options, and we can see here. We don't need to select any others. I'm just going to create a new repository. And one important observation: if I click on create new repository, you need to understand that a branch will be created. A default branch will be created. We will understand the concept of branching. No worries. For now, I am creating a repository, and within the repository, we are going to create branches. First, let's try to understand what is the purpose of repositories, and then we will understand the importance of branches creating inside the repository. So now what I am saying is, like, whenever you create a repository, one default branch will be created automatically. We are not selecting anything. We are not doing anything particularly for creating branches. Whenever you create a repository, one default branch will be created by default. And what is the name of that branch? The name of the branch will be main. I'm just clicking on create a new repository, creating a repository. You can see here a new repository is created. And how many branches are there here? We have only one branch. What is the name of the branch? Main branch. So, and this is the default branch. As I told you, whenever you create a repository, one default branch will be created. That is main branch. And we don't have any other branches except main for now. Okay, we'll talk about the branches later, but let's discuss about the repositories. What is the purpose of creating repositories? So I created a repository with a name called ICICI Savings Bank. Now, meaning is whatever the source code that is related to savings account. So people are developers who will be working on the source code part related to the savings account. They will be adding the code into this particular repository. And like that, we will be creating multiple repositories. I'm going back to the organization. Earlier in this organization, we don't have any repositories. ICICI Net Banking, this organization doesn't have any repositories. Now I have only one repository, which is called ICICI Savings Account. And you can also see the description here. This repo contains the source code related to the savings account. Similarly, we will be creating a new repository. We are going to create one more new repository. This time, I would like to give a different name. I would like to give a name called Fixed Deposit, ICICI Fixed Deposits. I am going to create a new repository called Fixed Deposits. Hope you are getting why we are creating multiple repositories. Earlier, we created one repository called Savings Account. So there in that repository, the source code which is related particularly only to the savings account will be stored there, will be managed over there. Sorry. And here we are going to create one more new repository for the fixed deposits. And this particular source, this repo contains the source code related to the, I'm just giving the description. This particular source code repository contains source code related to the fixed deposits. Okay. I would like to make this repository as private. I'm adding a README file. You know what is the purpose of README file? We can add long description for your project. Okay. So I'm just going to create a new repository. One thing we need to remember, whenever you create a new repository, a default branch will be created along with the repository. Okay, default branch will be created along with the repository. What is the name of the default branch? Main. I'm creating a repository and you can see now one more repository is called created. One more repository is created now. Just go to the organization, click on organization. Organization is different. Shahin, you have any doubts? You understood what is organization, what is repository, right? Why we are creating organization and all?
Yes, yes.
So if I want to maintain some group of repositories, if I want to create multiple repositories related to one organization, what I am doing, I will be creating an organization and I will be maintaining all my I will be managing all the repositories under the same organization. And you know, today the trend is microservices. If you go anywhere in any company, we'll be using agile model with the DevOps tools implementation. So in that agile model, people are using like microservices model. What is microservices model? They are dividing the entire application into small microservices. Okay. They'll be dividing the entire application into small microservices. So like this, they'll be creating different repositories for the single application. The application name is ICICI Net Banking only. But they'll create repositories for different modules. ICICI Fixed Deposit is one module. It is one microservice. Please go on mute, someone. ICICI Fixed Deposits, it is one module. ICICI Savings Account is another module. Let me create one more repository. You see here, credit cards, ICICI credit cards. Yes, I'm going to create a new repository called ICICI credit cards. Okay. So this repository will contains the information, all the source code related to the credit card. Adding a README file, I'm going to create a repository. You can understand now one more repository will be created. If you want to see what are all the repositories we have created so far, I've created 3 repositories. It is clearly showing here. Under this organization, we have 3 repositories. Just click on the repositories and you can able to see all the repositories here. So far, I've created 3 repositories: savings account, fixed deposits, and credit cards. Okay. So whenever we are creating repositories, based on what we are creating the repositories, based on a microservice. So team will discuss, they will divide the application into small microservices. They don't want to put the entire code at one place. Shahin, are you getting right? So they don't want to keep the entire source code of the application at one place. They are dividing into small microservices. Now ICICI savings account is one microservice. ICICI fixed deposits is one microservice. ICICI credit card is one microservice. We are creating each and every individual repo for one microservice. If you want to understand what is microservice, let me explain. If I keep all the source code of savings account, fixed deposits, credit cards in a single repository, we'll be deploying the entire code at a time. Okay, that is a traditional model. That is a traditional model. Now we are not following any traditional kind of model. We are following an agile methodology with DevOps tools implementation. Team will discuss and divides into microservices. Small microservices. What is the benefit here? Suppose if there is any issue, we are creating an individual repo for savings account. And we are deploying this into the Kubernetes or any kind of tool like Kubernetes. Okay. Consider we are deploying this savings account into the Kubernetes, and there in the Kubernetes, this application will be running in the form of a pod, pod. Usually in the Kubernetes terminology, we'll be calling it as pod. Okay. If this application, if this microservice is deployed into the Kubernetes, it will run in the form of a pod. If there is any issue with this particular microservice, only savings account module will not work. The remaining modules will, as usually, they will work. Okay. So if there is any issue with the fixed deposits code, only the impact will be on the fixed deposits. The remaining modules, remaining credit card, savings account, everything, each and every module, they will work independently. So that's the reason why we are dividing each and everything as a small microservices. We are deploying into the Kubernetes. Hope you understood the concept of microservices now. Any questions here we can discuss?
So, like under this, the repositories, if we wanted to create any sub-repository, so like how we create?
See, it is we cannot create any sub-repositories. There is no concept of sub-repositories. Repository is nothing but like it is a place. We are creating a repository means it is a place where we are storing some source code. Okay, if I am creating a repository for ICICI credit cards, I will be storing the entire credit card source code information here. I'll be storing entire fixed deposit source code here. I'll be storing savings account source code here. So here there is an option here. There is no concept of sub repositories, but we can create branches inside the repository. As per your understanding, inside the repository, we are going to create branches. So Shaheen, whenever we create a repository, one default branch got created. Okay. One default branch got created. What is the branch that is created? Main. A default branch got created. The name of the branch is main. So in the branches, we will be managing the source code actually. In the branches, we'll be managing the source code. As per your understanding, if you think about the sub repositories, they are nothing but branches only. Within the branches, we will be managing the source code. And we will also understand what is branching, what is the need of creating multiple branches. All those things we will be understanding in the further discussions. Okay, there is no concept of sub repositories. A repository is, we are creating repositories under organization. That's it. Okay, we cannot create any sub repositories. We have created one organization called ICICI. You see here, Shaheen, we created two organizations, right? When I go to the profile, I can see your organizations. I have two organizations here, ICICI Net Banking and Life Insurance Corporation. Under ICICI Net Banking organization, I have created how many repositories so far? 3 repositories. Similarly, if the same company is going to work for LIC also, if the same company they are going to design a website for something related to LIC also, they will create repositories under LIC. But they will not provide access to each and everybody, right? They will provide access only the people who will be working on that repository and who will be working under that organization. Okay. So under LIC also we can create different repositories. Just click on repositories. We can create a new repository. Here also the same concept. If we see here LIC, I'm just opening LIC. In LIC also there will be different modules. Okay. So schemes. So to display the schemes related source code, whatever the things that we want to display about the schemes and all, we will be creating a new repository here. Okay. LIC schemes. I'm creating a new repository called LIC schemes. I'm selecting private, adding a README file, creating a repository. One thing we should remember, whenever we create a repository, one default branch will be created and one default branch will be created along with the repository. If we don't know or if we are not aware of what is this branch and all, we will be understanding in the further discussion. No need to worry. Okay. So far I have created one repository under LIC. What is the name of the repository? Schemes. So this particular repository will have the source code related to the different schemes. Okay. And there are other modules also, you see. Suppose if someone wants to pay the premium, okay, they want to log in and they want to pay the premium. So for that also we will create one repository. So it is not, I am just saying an example. It is not like exactly they will maintain the repositories only for this kind of modules. Based on their plan, they will divide the source code into different modules, and they will be managing the source code into different repositories. So what I'm saying is, I'm showing you like LIC Pay Premium. This is a service called Pay Premium. Okay. I'm just going to create a repository. So now you see, nowadays, we are not seeing any downtime for the whole application. It's very rare. Earlier, we used to get some messages. There is a maintenance activity going and you cannot access our application from this time to this time like that. But today, everything is being moved to the cloud. Every infrastructure is being maintained at the cloud. In cloud, there is no downtime. We will not face any downtime in the cloud. That's the advantage today we have with the cloud. Why we are using cloud? Earlier, we used to maintain our infrastructure in the on-premises, in the office on-premises. We used to have all the servers at our office on-premises. But now that things have changed, we are not maintaining the infrastructure. Why? Because cloud is providing the infrastructure at very cheaper costs. We are going to create infrastructure in the cloud and we will be maintaining all the servers over there. There will be no downtime. We don't need to go for maintenance and all. Every maintenance, everything will be taken care by the cloud only. They'll be having a separate team and they will look after the maintenance, all those things. We just need to pay for them. That's it. For the service they are providing. And that too also it is pay as you go model. Pay as you go. How long you use the service, we'll be paying only for that. Got it, right? So now I have created two repositories. I have created two repositories under an organization called Life Insurance Corporation, LIC Pay Premium, LIC Schemes. If I want to create one more repository, yes, we can create. You can see here. And you see, we have many modules here. Withdraw service, okay? Withdrawal service. Consider I'm just creating an example services only, but don't take this as a in the same way they will create the repository. But this is the process. This is the procedure they follow. Okay. I'm going to create a repository called LIC hyphen withdraw service. I'm going to create withdraw service. I'm going to create a repository. Yes, this is how we create repositories under an organization. If the same company is managed this, if the same company is working for LIC, they'll also create repositories like this in the form of microservices. These are microservices. Why I'm saying like these are microservices, they're creating repositories for each and every microservice because today everyone is following the agile model. We are not keeping the entire source code at one repository, at one single repository. And we don't want to see any downtime for the application. Okay, we are deploying individually. Okay, if there is any issue at the pay premium, only this service will get affected. Only this functionality will get affected. I don't want the entire application to go down. If there is any issue in displaying the schemes, in the source code of the schemes, only this particular module will be affected. People cannot able to see the schemes. They cannot able to go for the details of the schemes. Only this particular module will get affected, not the entire application. That's the reason why team will discuss and decide what all the microservices they are going to keep. And they will be deploying all the microservices into the Kubernetes. That's how we are doing now today. Any other questions, Shaheen, you have? Hope you understood how to create an organization and how to create repositories. What is the purpose of, not only creating an organization, creating repositories. You should understand in real time what is the main objective of creating repositories. Why we are creating repositories in the GitHub. Anyhow, the main objective is storing the source code only. Managing the source code only. Okay? But we should understand the basic objective of GitHub and all. Any questions here? Or can we go ahead? Can we proceed?
Like in daily based scenarios, so DevOps engineer will create all this, like organization and repositories, or else like developers will also create this one.
Yes, Shahin. Suppose if you are a joiner, okay, if you are going to join in a company where the GitHub setup is already there, and you have been deployed into a project where the GitHub setup is already there. Then if the setup is already there, they will not ask you to create setup once again, okay? If they are going to start a new project, okay? If they are going to start a new project and they don't have any GitHub repositories for them, They don't have any GitHub account itself. Consider there is a startup and they want to start with GitHub for managing the source code. They don't have an account at the GitHub. They will ask you, okay, as a DevOps engineer, they might ask you, do you know how to create an account in the GitHub and how to create an organization, how to manage repositories, all those things? Okay, you should say like, yes, I have knowledge on creating all of them. That's how it will be useful. Got it right? But anyhow, creating a repository is a regular practice.
Yes.
Maybe you did not get a chance for creating an account, for creating an organization, if they were already been set up. But creating repositories is a continuous process. They will be creating microservices whenever client comes with the new requirements. These are the modules that we have on the ICICI banking. Suppose tomorrow, if there is one more service, if they are going to keep some other deposit, similar to the fixed deposit and recurring deposit, they are going to keep some other deposit, then they will be creating one more repository under the ICICI bank. So creating repositories is a regular practice that you will get an opportunity to create. But setting up an account and all, only you get that opportunity only in few projects. Okay, that is based on the project nature. Shaheen, you understood, right?
Yes, yes, I got.
So see here in this one individual account, we are creating the number of organizations, right? There is any limit for that, or else we can create number.
Yeah, that's what I have shown you, right? So we actually suppose if we wanted to know, how many accounts we can create. See, there is no limit for creating repositories. So, but there is a license here. If we wanted to know about GitHub licenses
The
and all,
project is okay. Organizations, sorry, organization. We can create number of organizations, right?
yeah, I got it. Like suppose you see here, we have just, so far we created 2 organizations, right?
Yeah.
So far we have created 2 organizations. So there is no limit on creating organizations. You can create any number of organizations, but usually what the number of organizations increases, the bill, if you are, usually we will not take the community edition. There are different editions in the GitHub, right?
Yes.
We will not use at the organization level, they won't use community edition. Okay, they will be using the licensed version only.
Okay.
If they are going to increase the number of organizations based on the usage only, they need to pay the bill. Got it right?
Yes, yes. So these repositories are generally created by developers, right, who build their code.
Yes.
Develop means DevOps people also can create.
See, actually, we understood, right? So there is a gap between the developers and the DevOps people. So consider we are the DevOps people. We are aware of all the DevOps tools. Okay. If developer is also learning all the DevOps tools, company doesn't require any DevOps resources.
Correct.
Got it?
Yes.
If developer knows how to create a GitHub account, how to create repositories, how to manage source code, how to create branches, all these administrative activities. So suppose we need to set up to whom we need to provide access for a particular repository. If there is a service called withdraw service, we need to provide access for this repository, only for this repository to a particular group of people. If developer knows how to provide access, if he's okay, then that is fine. No need of DevOps resources. That's what we are saying. In the beginning also I told, if the developer knows how to install the database and how to connect the database, how to use the database for his development activity, then no need of DevOps resources, right? And if you remember, I told one example, developer is working on his activity and he need a database. What he will do, usually he will approach the database team. If the database team is not available, then if he is aware of installing database, then he will not get stuck with the work, right? See, why we need DevOps tools and all? Why we need DevOps tools? Like the main requirement from the companies is each and everyone must be aware of DevOps tools. Either he is a developer or he is working on some other environment. Each and everyone must aware of DevOps tools. But that will not happen. There is no, here we don't have a single DevOps tool to learn, right? There are many DevOps tools. And it is not at all possible for the developer to learn all the DevOps tools to grab the knowledge on all the DevOps tools. That's the reason why we have DevOps resources who will be having knowledge only related to the DevOps tools and that kind of activities. Got it?
Yeah. So everybody should know about these things.
Yes, the expectation is So expectation from their side is like everybody should aware of this one, but it is not at all possible in real time, right?
Oh.
Developer, they need to focus, they will focus on their code and all. And if they are interested, few people are interested in learning all these tools, yes, they will grab the knowledge. But the others will always depend on the DevOps resources only. How to do this, how can we do this like that? That's why company requires DevOps resources, and there is a huge demand now. Got it?
Yeah.
So we understood how to create repositories, how to create organizations and all. And the next thing, like we will be moving with branches. Okay, we are going to understand how we are going to create branches. What is the concept of branching and all? We need to understand what is branching, why we need branching and all. See, branch. Why we need branch? What is the concept of branching strategy in the repositories? So usually when a repository is created, a default branch will be there, which is called main or master. We can also rename this. We can also rename this main branch. We can make it as master. It is up to us whether we wanted to keep the main branch as main or master. It is up to us. We can rename the branch. Okay. But this is the place where the final copy of the code will be stored. What is the final copy of code? We need to understand now. What is final copy of code? Consider we have 4 developers. Okay. Consider we have 4 developers. Developer 1, 2, 3, 4. Developer 1 is working on one activity, one task. Developer 2 is working on another task. 3 is working on another task. 4 is working on another task. Finally, what all these people will do, Pawan? Developer 1 is going to commit the code into which? Developer 1 is going to commit the code into which branch? They might create an individual branches. You see, developer 1 has created a branch called, consider developer 1 name is Ashok. Okay, developer 1 name is Ashok. Consider he is going to create a feature branch for his work. He can create a branch with his name or with his task name. Okay, consider he is working on some deposit modules. So he can create a branch like this, feature / deposit. Developer 2 can also create some different branch. Developer 3 can create a different branch. Finally, what the developers will do, whatever the code that they have committed, whatever the code they have at their individual branches, they need to push the entire code to the final branch. What is the final branch here we are considering?
Main branch.
Main or master, whatever it is. According to their name strategy, it can be a main or master. So whatever the feature branches that developers create, developers must push the source code into the final branch called master or main finally. So what is main or master? So here, the final copy of code will be maintained. The final copy of the code will be maintained at this particular level. So all the developers, if 100 developers even if 100 developers works on the different tasks, all the 100 developers, they will create individual branches. They won't disturb them. They won't disturb this main branch. Okay. They will take the copy of code with a different branch name. They'll take the copy of code with a different branch name. And they will, whatever the changes they wanted to make, they will make the changes. Finally, they will, if everything is okay, if they feel that everything is working fine, they are going to push the code into the main branch. That's how it will do. Okay, we'll discuss the rest of the things in the next session. So far, I think you understood what is microservices, how actually the microservices will go in the agile model, how to create organization, how to create repositories in the GitHub, all those things. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing about the branching strategies. What is the use of branching in the GitHub? And we'll also understand how to provide permissions for a particular repository to a particular user or group of users. We'll also see some administrative activities. Okay. We'll also see some administrative activities like what DevOps resource can do on the GitHub and all. Any questions for today?
Nothing. Just wanted to know, about this self-scripting and as well as Linux command. So what you have thought that is enough for us? Like still, there are more, scripts and
No, Shaheen, that is not at all enough. Okay. So if we keep on discussing about the shell scripting, it will be a separate course.
Okay.
Got it right? It will be a separate course. And there are many things that we need to learn, but we just had a basic idea about the shell scripting and the Linux command. That's how the Linux commands will be. That's how the shell scripting will be. And we understood the objective, main importance of the shell scripting. So who uses shell scripting? Linux administrators, DevOps engineers, they will use the shell scripting. And for automating the tasks, they will use the shell scripting. That's why we need to learn the shells. As a DevOps engineer, we need to learn the shell scripting. Okay, I
Okay.
will let you know. I am planning for a free course on shell scripting. Okay, I will let you know. You can join that particular course, and it will be like some 15 to 20 days course. Okay,
Oh,
then I will ask you to join there. Okay, you will learn
sure,
that.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
But what are the other tools that we are discussing? We will be discussing in the real time, and whatever the knowledge you are gaining here, that will be mostly enough. Okay, 70% knowledge that you are gaining here, that will be enough for managing, for understanding the things once you go anywhere, like in any organization.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thank you all. Any other questions? We will see rest of the things tomorrow, the next session. Thank you all.
Thank you.